Hi, welcome to Lucky Bastard's channel. Today I will play through a video of a session we played of Cloudage. It was the fourth or maybe even fifth game in the campaign. There would be spoilers, but they aren't huge, so you can watch it. And the story is mainly the spoiler if there was sound. But the only sound you'll get is some music and me talking through it sometimes. Uh, I will not go through every action, but what is the main idea here? We are fighting against, it's a post-apocalyptic situation. I don't know the exact story, I don't remember it, but now we are traveling through the sky in airships. We're traveling from city to city, and we're collecting resources like water and titanium. We try to upgrade our airship throughout the game. We do that mainly by paying titanium to build upgrades for the propellers or the cannons on it, so we have to fight in every city, so that's really important. But we also can do that by paying water to buy some cards, and we have blue, green and yellow cards depending on in which phase of the game they will have some effect. We also try to plant some trees. You don't play with that in the first campaign, but during the games you develop new skills, and that's actually like you're playing a tutorial in the beginning of the game. There is already quite a lot to take into account, so it's normal that they don't want to throw that as well at you, because that could be very confusing at first. But it's not really a spoiler either, because you can play with that in the scenario. That's it's quite confusing, because you have a campaigns situation, they call it chapters, and you have scenarios, and those are more separate entities that you play, but you can also upgrade the rules. And I mean by that you can start with the basic set of rules, and once you get the hang of it, you can include the tree rules for planting trees. What I didn't tell you yet is that this game is designed by Alexander Pfister, a well-known designer, maybe most known for Maracaibo and Great Western Trail at the moment. And this is different. I've played both of the other games. I didn't like them so much, and contrary to the popular beliefs, I don't say they're bad games, but I didn't enjoy them really that much. They were interesting, but they were also boring to me at certain levels. Let's hear some music, and I'll come back to you to explain the rules later on. So, what are the phases of the game? Once you get the hang of it, it's moving very quickly, because first you may read a part of a story depending on which round we're in, and then you get some production. You have to pay some electricity, the third resource, to get some water, maybe points also if you're further ahead in the track. That's the track at the top of the screen. Around it you keep score, but in the middle there is the production. After that you can draw two cards from your deck. It's also a little bit a deck builder. You start with low numbered cards. We have the same set of cards, and we will add cards to that. You see them in the middle. They are covered with clouds also. That I will come back to that later in this explanation. And we take two cards. The lowest card, you gain resources from that. That could be electricity or that could be extra cards. Cards are also a very important resource because you need them to build other cards. So you don't only need good cards, you also want some bad cards that you can get rid of. Either way, the lowest card is just the sole purpose is for that. And then we have to move, and that's the higher card determines how many spaces we can move. It seems like it's a race, but it's actually not. We are nearly never hindering each other on the board. There's sometimes a possibility that someone gets first and will plant a tree and block something else for the other player, but usually that's not the case. So the highest card is only for moving. You add some propellers to that. You have also a free movement. If you don't use it, you can get electricity for that because they are solar panels that you have on your ship from the start. And then you move a number of spaces and you have to end in a city that could be the same city, but that's probably not what you want to do. And each time you enter a city, you have to fight there. It doesn't really matter if you win or lose. You can get defeated, but if you win, you get resources. So that helps a lot. And you usually get water, but there could be some other things like cards or points even. And the further you get along the board, that's the only reason to get further, the higher the stakes are, so that you can earn a lot more usually, but the fight will be tougher as well. You have to get more power by building cards, by upgrading your ship with metal, titanium and cannons. So there are many ways to do that, and also there is some that deck building part gets more important again because you can pay electricity to draw cards and you can add the number on that card to your power, to your strength at that moment. So you can draw as many cards as you like as long as you can pay the electricity you need for that. If we both have moved, then the real action phase begins. And there you have two options actually at the start of the game, and later on you also get the plant a tree option. So I will not go into that, but the first two options are the build action. If I choose that with my it's a drone, I think, on the sticker that's on the token. If I place it on the left of that board, that yellow board in the middle, then I say I choose to build, and I can take two build actions, and I can upgrade my ship, I can build a card, I can just pick a resource if I don't want to build or cannot build, and my opponents, they can build one time as well. If I don't want to build, I can get extra resources by going to one of those three cards in the middle covered with clouds. And then it's some kind of interesting thing because I've never seen this before, but you want to guess which kind of resource is more available on that card by looking at what's visible. There's always a part visible and a part covered by the clouds. There are also some bonus icons on that. Sometimes you see them, but you want to check on which kind of area they are. If they are on the water, then you want to go to the water to get a bonus, but you don't always know. Either way, if you can make your choice, then other players can also go to that card but pick a different resource. That's why there are 4 circles below every card that guarantees the resource that you will get, but it will not guarantee how much of it. You have to look at the area covered on the card, and that's, well, do an estimate of the area covered on the card. There will always be one that is worth 3, and there is one worth 1, and the others are 2, and then you have the bonuses. So you want to check for that. Also, if you choose that action, you can keep the card. So that's your benefit then compared to the other players. And you put that in your discard pile before it will return to your deck. And then you have a 3 or a 4 instead of a 1 or a 2. So you can do more movement or get more resources in the first phase of each round. And that's generally it. There are some other things like those mission cards in front of it. We have two, and on each mission card there are two assignments you need to do. And if you take a second mission card, you cover one of those previous, or you put one of those two below. So you have in the end three objectives you want to complete. Maybe in some games you get more objectives, that's possible. Let's go to my review in a second. So what are the strong points of this game? I think it has some interesting flow dynamic, if you want, and that is mainly that it moves along very quickly once you get the hang of it. There are there are three phases, and they're divided in certain actions each round, and that seems overwhelming at first, but it really isn't when you're playing. It's just not very intuitive. And what I like very much about it is that it's interactive without really blocking each other. You're more helping each other with each action. And you try to guess what the other player will do. If you're the first player to take an action, then you try to think, I only need one build action, so maybe I can collect resources, and my opponent will build, so I can have one from his action. So that makes it interesting. One of the things that makes it interesting. What's also interesting is the dilemmas you get in this game. You want to do everything. The game doesn't oblige you to do everything, but you really want to do many more things than you can do during the game. Halfway the game you think, I'll never accomplish anything, and at the end of the game you do succeed at certain things at least. You cannot build every card that is good that you have in your hand. You cannot visit every city. You cannot fight every city that you want to fight, that you plan to fight. You cannot get every mission that you were planning to obtain. But you do a lot of stuff in this game. You deck build. You kind of race, but it's not really a race, like I said before. You build stuff. You plan your cards, you try to build an engine there, you upgrade your ship, you even have some moments of storytelling. They're not the strong part of this game, I wouldn't buy it for the story alone. There's a lot going on, you interact in a positive way with opponents, I like that a lot. There is the production board that you move, if you move along on that very quickly, it's an easy way of getting resources, but if you don't do that, there are other ways to get those. So I think it has a really pretty balance between things, and choices are plenty, and there's nothing that is really punishing if you play something wrong. The only downside I think this game has that it all feels expensive. Every card you have to play is like, it's crushing me. I have to pay those resources that I collected for 2 rounds maybe to get 13 water or something. And maybe the reward doesn't feel that great sometimes. I think that's just keeping everything in balance, but it doesn't seem that way. You have to know the cards a little bit. I even have a favorite card in this game, and I think my favorite card won't be someone else's favorite card. So it's not that it's overpowered. Maybe there are cards that feel to me like underpowered, but I think there are many strategies to walk through, and you have to be tactical about it. You have to adapt to what's available to you, mainly your hand cards. They determine a lot of what you can do, and sometimes the engine doesn't roll that well. It happens. I had one game that didn't really work for me, but even then I had fun. It was a little bit frustrating, but that was the downside then. So thanks for watching to this video. I hope I see you next time, and that will help if you subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.